Hi, Paul Nash already coming to you live from the show floor of KubeCon EU 2026. I'm with Isovalent. Nico, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Nice to meet you.
You too, you too. What a great show. It's been busy.
I know, and it's been I think my seventh KubeCon in the past 3 or 4 years. Uh, Steady shift towards AI com. But yeah, still exciting. Still great meeting new people
Yeah, absolutely.
and learning. So no, it's been a good couple of days so far.
My question is, are you going to change the name of KubeCon to AICon? I mean, it sounds like it because there's a lot going on here.
And I think for some people, it's great. Like there's a lot of the focus on agentic AI and GPUs, and and building LLM on Kubernetes. Some people, they're still new to Kubernetes. It might be
Right.
their first, their second, or third KubeCon, and they've been telling me, it's too the AI focus is too much, right?
Yeah.
I want to just go back to Kubernetes. Um, so I think the CNCF is in a funny place. They
Yeah.
don't really know who they're catering for. If they're catering for the platform engineers or the AI developers,
It'll ban itself out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Isovalent, right?
Yeah.
So I've been talking to Thomas for many years.
Sure.
eBPF and Cilium has really been like part of that whole developer kind of centric view and how to communicate between applications and such. What are you showing at the show?
Well, Isovalent is now part of Cisco, so
Yep.
that's been a couple of years since we've been acquired. For me, it's like back to my roots. I used to work at Cisco
Okay.
years back, um, so now we're part of the larger Cisco machine, but we are still really part of the Kubernetes community. Right? Cilium is still the one of the most popular open source projects within the CNCF, and it's still the leading networking project across the whole Kubernetes space. And it's extremely relevant with AI. So for us, it's like we are Kubernetes, and KubeCon is still a big part of what we do, and we like to be part and seeing all the people who have helped contributing to Cilium to make Cilium a very successful project. Um, I think one of the most interesting things here is talking to the neo clouds.
Yep.
And talking to also sovereign clouds, right?
Yep. Well, it's Europe. That's
Yeah, exactly.
You have to talk about that.
Yeah. And it's to see, okay, what's important to them from a networking perspective,
Hey.
right? Because like now it's been a few years that Cilium has been selected by Google, Amazon, and Azure as their number one networking platform, right? That's kind of happened at the start of the 2020s. And now we have the neo cloud that do like AI as a service, and you have also European clouds, and they are also aspiring for security and high performance encryption, and all these things that we offer with Cilium, which is why that Cilium is actually adopted by all these different people. So if you look at all the neo clouds, they've selected Cilium as their networking platform. So to me, that tells me that if these people are running AI at scale, are adopting Cilium, then you're going to see enterprises building.
Organizations adopting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's another small show going on across the world called RSA right now. That one, so let's talk about runtime security, because runtime
Yep.
security is a big factor here. I also want to kind of double click a little bit down into the argument between sidecar and sidecarless and what that means.
Okay.
So let's start there.
Yeah, and it's a debate we started maybe 2 or 3 years ago, which was about if we need a service mesh to do application load, within load balancing and in your cluster. Do you run a service mesh with a sidecar proxy, or do you not? Which was our approach, was to use eBPF to do sidecarless.
Sidecarless, yes.
This approach has now been followed by the likes of Istio, who then released something called ambient mesh. So that we pioneered this approach of doing sidecarless service mesh, and now you've seen other providers doing the same. So yeah, the whole idea of sidecar was I understand why it was done this way. It was the whole idea was to remove networking from inside the application.
Yeah,
and
make
put
it portable and make it easy to use.
Exactly.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that war that's out there. Do you do this? Do you do that? So
Yeah.
I thought I'd ask the question.
No, and that it was like like almost like a religious war of some extent. But now I think people have come to realize that having a sidecar with every pod was just a waste of resources.
Yeah,
and there was a way to do it better, which is what Cilium has done and needs to have done.
So what else are we seeing at the show today? I mean, you have your booth is a number of messages here, and
so we have a couple of things. We have a networking for virtualization, which is something which we've announced recently, which is in controlled availability. So it's like a private beta. And the idea is to help customers migrate from like the traditional kind of virtualization environment into Kubernetes. Right? So there is, many people that are thinking, okay, how do I reduce my dependence on Broadcom? And the problem is, it's not necessarily the migration, but it's around the networking, right? How do I make the networking as easy as possible as I start running a virtual machine in Kubernetes?
right.
How do I have a consistent security policies between my kind of old environment and my VMware in my Kubernetes environment? So that's what we're doing with our new project, which is like a networking bridge between your old VMware estate and Kubernetes. And it's just to really help organization migrate from VMware into Kubernetes.
That's great. That's great. It reduces the friction. It helps with the skill gap issues, right? So you can kind of have that communication across those applications. Very cool. All right. So top 3 things to take away. What do you want the audience to hear to understand? Top 3 things.
Okay. So, I mean, Cilium just remains a highly popular project that is still adopted by not only all the organization, all the major clouds, but also all the neo clouds, all the sovereign clouds, and still lots of innovation. I think we see eBPF remaining very popular.
Yeah.
Right? This is like now that we're part of Cisco, we are seeing our runtime projects going inside Cisco products themselves.
Very cool.
Right? So we are a Cisco router, Cisco switch. Now they've got a Linux kernel which supports eBPF, and they also need to be secured. Right? And so now, when you get a new Cisco switch, it will come on board with Isovalent runtime security. Right?
Okay.
So
that's why I brought this up earlier.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the idea is to essentially being able to do virtual patching on your Cisco device. Right? So instead of if there's a vulnerability on the switch and you have to upgrade the switch and you have to reboot the switch and you have to plan the whole maintenance, with runtime security, we can push a virtual patch that will just prevent the vulnerability from being exploited. And you don't even have to reboot because it's in eBPF, it's all runtime. So that's tactical remediation of security problems. And I guess the final thing is, I think just networking remains like a very, very exciting field, and it's going to be essential to run AI workloads, right? Whether it's to secure and protect open cloud or agentic AI, or to run and secure multi-tenant environment running on Kubernetes with GPUs. So I think it's a very, very exciting time to be at KubeCon and to be working on networking and security challenges.
No, very, very much so. Well, Nico, thank you for your time today. This is great having you on. Thank you for watching. Paul Nashwati coming to you live from the show floor at KubeCon EU 2026.